first topic, we're just going to jump right into it. We've got the Asia Cup happening.
Yes.
And, we've obviously there's been a couple of matches, but India's first match is on Saturday, and that is against Pakistan.
What a cracker of an opener,
A
Paxton.
cracker. And I guess
And
we'll
it's not in
we'll be
Pakistan.
doing a cracker of a match to start the tournament. But like we'll be also covering that in a later video as well on match day. Doing coverage of that. But I guess this one we'll go over just the preview of the Asia Cup. And we'll see. We'll start off with the squads actually, India's squad for the Asia Cup, and we've got a lot of players returning as well. So I'll just go through it right now. So we've got Rohit Sharma, obviously the captain, everyone loves. Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer returning to the squad after
Back surgery.
injury. We've got Sky, we've got Dilek Varma, who's part of it now as well. KL Rahul, Ishan Kishan, Hardik Pandya, the vice captain, Ravindra Jadeja, Shardul Thakur, Akshar Patel, Kuldeep Yadav, Jasprit Bumrah, fresh off his series with
Hold on a
Ireland,
second.
and
You say Jasprit Bumrah?
yeah,
Where did he come
he's
from?
in this. He was playing in Ireland. I guess warming up against Ireland. Mohammad Shami, Mohammad Siraj, and returning also Prasid Krishna. Now, what do you make of the squad, man? Like, is it
Interesting.
obviously? I think it's like pretty much the World Cup squad, right? Like it's what we Oh, I forgot to say also, Sanju Samson is the standby player. Shout out Sanju. And yeah, so what do you think of the squad? Like there's a lot of players returning. There's obviously some coming back from injuries. What do you think of it?
Look, it's interesting that you mentioned also just before we start the Mohammad Siraj in the squad because initially I don't think he was actually selected in the squad. Um, and there are a couple of people that they've left out in this squad because like the likes of Ashwin and Yuzvinder Chahal not selected here. So
Yeah,
this is the Asia Cup squad, which is most likely, I think, 80% to 90% is going to be the World Cup squad. I
yeah,
think they are testing a few players out here as well, the likes of Sky, Tilak Varma, KL Rahul returning from injury, which apparently he's going to miss
yeah.
2 games anyway, which is pointless because it's a short competition. Um, and yes, they've got Akshar Patel, Kuldeep Yadav in here, which is a spin faction, which I don't think will play too much of a role.
I
But
mean, they
the,
are in Sri Lanka, so I
yeah,
mean,
a couple of
spin will
matches
play
that
a bit
have
of a
already
role. Yeah,
happened, I think spin will play definitely a big part, actually. So this could be a chance for Yadav, Kuldeep Yadav, and Akshar Patel to actually stamp a claim in the World Cup squad. So it's quite interesting.
who do you think? I mean, I've been going on for ages about Kuldeep Yadav being just misused this past couple of years, not really selected properly, not given a proper run, right? And man, the performer he just performs every time he gets picked. So I'm just dumbfounded as to why he's not a regular. I mean, I know why. Obviously, there's Ravindra Jadeja and Shardul Thakur. I mean, not Shardul, Ravindra Jadeja and Akshar Patel, who they're the left arm spinners there, and they're the all rounders, right? But man, like really, you can't go past Yadav as a wicket taker,
I
right?
think the issue has been the veteran Ashwin has been there for a long time. So Ashwin,
Yeah,
I mean, lately he's been in and out of the squad, but Ashwin comes in, and then you've got Jadeja, then you've got maybe two or three fast bowlers. So I do believe, he is a wicket taking bowler, Kuldeep.
yeah,
But just because Jadeja and Ashwin have blocked those positions for a long time,
yeah.
he hasn't really got a chance. He's been in and out as well, and I believe now he is getting more chances now. So hopefully he
He's got
can
to make
cement his
that
spot.
playing 11. Like to me, it's. I mean, you're going with two. I mean, obviously you're going with two spinners. I reckon in Sri Lanka, and obviously during the World Cup. But to me, it's between Jadeja and Akshar Patel that they're vying for one spot. Kuldeep definitely has the other as the main spinner.
Well, Akshar Patel in India and Asia is cemented his spot pretty much. A
Akshar Patel is like
couple of
a
series ago
legend.
against England, if you remember, the test match against England, Axel Patel was like bat
On
and ball.
fire.
He was killing it. But
There's
interestingly, you mentioned
the
Sri
only
Lanka.
unfortunate the only unfortunate thing is this is another country, so
I think we should
this
also
is outside
mention
India.
in Sri Lanka, hosted by Pakistan.
Oh yes, yes, that's right. In Sri Lanka, but hosted by Pakistan.
Yes.
Obviously, there was all this drama around the hosting of this tournament. It was meant to be Pakistan that was hosting it,
Look,
and then we all heard about what happened there, and now it's sort of split. But
I I think it's a very balanced squad, to be honest. If you
yeah,
look at we just start with the fast bowling quad. Like we've got Bumrah coming
yeah,
back. You've got Shami, who's a seasoned, player. And then you
yeah,
got Mohammad Siraj, who's been taking wickets. Like there's your three fast bowlers, and then you got Krishna,
yeah.
Prasid Krishna as well coming back, who
A good backup, by the way,
yeah,
Prasid Krishna.
you could try
He's a cool
Krishna as
guy.
well.
Yeah,
It depends how much I think India want to experiment in this series. I feel like they've experimented a lot, in the previous tours. They want to probably consolidate a team now
yeah, man.
for the
Like,
World Cup.
later we'll talk about the current state of the Indian team where it's at, but man, I just don't like this experimenting. It's too much. They've experimented way too much. We don't know what our ideal playing 11 is.
Yeah.
Like what?
And the thing
Like
is, they've got
we've
to get into
just
a rhythm as well, right? They've got to, when they're
yeah.
batting, they've got
Like
to get into a rhythm of their position, get to
but
know
the
their actual
but the
position.
way that Rohit keeps talking, he just keeps going on about everyone needs to be flexible to play in any position, which is great, right? Fine, but like you need some stability there, especially in the middle order. There's problems there.
Can
I
he be
mean, we
flexible and not get selected?
oh, we're starting it right earlier.
We'll get to that.
No, we'll get to that. Yeah, after a couple of things, but yeah, I mean, like we just need to like stabilize that middle order because to me, one day matches are built like a good one day team, and is built on a stable middle order.
Yeah.
Right now, it's Kohli's there, right? But I mean, we've got like a
Kohli's a lock, I think,
Sky.
at number three.
Yeah,
You've got to
he's
have
a rocket
Kohli at
number
number
three.
three.
Sky, talented cricketer, Sky, but he hasn't performed in one day cricket. That's the facts of it, and we all want him to. He's got so much talent, so much skill. He's a freak, but it's just he hasn't produced in one day cricket yet, and we're just waiting. Hopefully, they're everyone's hoping he does in time for the World Cup. But
Yeah.
it's just a bit. There is a bit of question marks there, and yeah, like you previously said, KL Rahul. How is he going to factor into this? He's maybe injured, and like yeah, I mean,
That's a
we are
surprise,
missing.
actually.
I've got to say, we are missing a Rishabh Pant there. He would
Yeah.
that presence in the middle order would have helped.
Yeah.
But
I think Ishan Kishan is a good player. Like I feel like he is a good player, but
yeah,
he's
he's
not that
performed.
middle order batsman. He's more of an opener. Um,
Yeah,
Rishabh Pant used to come in like late or towards the middle, towards the end of the
yeah.
batting lineup, and he used to play pretty well. I feel like that middle order, yes, you're right, it is a bit shaky. If you think before Shreyas Iyer actually got injured, he was consolidating his spot at number like 4, 5, 6 around that
And
area.
that's another person we have to talk about. Shreyas Iyer coming back after injury, and to me, it. I mean, it's still a question mark because how will he perform coming back from injury? But um, before he got injured, he was very solid. He was staking a claim. He was like, "Mate,
Yep.
this is my spot. I want to be number 4 here."
Yep.
And I think, I mean, from what we saw before of Shreyas, he's very committed. He's very focused, and we just hope that he can score in the Asia Cup. They have to pick him.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, like I'd like to ask you a question. Who would you select as the openers? I mean, because we've got Shubman Gill, Rohit Sharma, and Ishan Kishan. Who would you put as the
Look,
openers?
I mean, obviously, it's going to be Rohit and Gill that are opening. That combination, it's worked in the past, but
But Rohit Sharma
that's what.
said flexibility, like he should be flexible as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's not going anywhere butt opening, which is like Rohit hasn't been performing as an opener lately, right?
No.
Especially in crunch games. That's got to be said as well. In crunch games, he hasn't been performing as well, and it's shown a lot. Uh, you know, in the past year, really,
Yeah.
or even 2 years actually since he's taken over the captaincy. So yeah, it's going to be Shubman Gill, obviously there with Rohit. It's just they've got to really Rohit's got to stop getting out like before we can.
Yeah. Yeah.
He does that a lot. He really does. Like he gets out LBW a lot.
Yeah.
Um, and he's got to get that forward defense, man. He's got to get it. He's got to get it solid. It's just not at the moment.
I don't know if you remember, there was a player by the name of Robin Utapa who
Yes.
also had a similar problem when the bowlers figured out that his front foot was not moving at all. He
Yeah.
would get out LBW and bowl like they'd figured him out. Like you'd have
Yeah.
to just bowl that one delivery outside off or just on off,
Yeah.
and he'd get out. Like he
And
wouldn't be
KO
able to.
Rahul has the same problem.
Yeah,
KO Rahul. I mean, like Shane Afridi is going to just run circles around them, right? If
yeah,
they, you know, if they play the way they do. But yeah, they've got to be careful about that as well, especially in that first game. But
yeah.
yeah, I
Looking a
mean,
bit
one of
further
the
down. Yep. Sorry,
yeah,
go on. Sorry.
I was gonna say, what are the omissions, the big omissions for you in this?
Um, Look, I think Ashwin is a big omission in this because I feel like
Yeah,
I'm not comfortable with Ashwin like sort of saying that he's confirmed his spot in the World Cup. I feel like the Asia Cup was really an area where they could have tested him. Um,
wait, is he saying that he has confirmed his spot?
well, that's what they're indicating by not picking him. I feel like they're saying that the World Cup squad he's going to be in there
Well,
because he's the
the thing is,
experienced player.
Ashwin was picked for the T20 World Cup, right? Didn't perform. I don't believe he performed that greatly. Has that played a factor in maybe he's dropped? Maybe.
Could be. Maybe they might not even select him, and he'll be like,
Yeah,
"What?"
maybe they've made it clear to him that like, look, mate, Test cricket's where it's at. We
Yeah.
just don't see you playing one day, or maybe it's a decision he's made privately, hasn't
Yeah.
really made it public yet.
Ideally,
But
I would like to see the spin quarter, like Jadeja, obviously. But then you'd
yeah,
have to select between Akshar Patel, Kuldeep Yadav, and Chahal, like one of those three. Um,
yeah, and Charles another sort of I guess
he's a
omission
risk.
from
Like
the squad.
he gets wickets, but then
Yeah.
like he can get smashed as well. Like he's a bit of a risk.
Yeah, that's if it's a flat pitch, he's going for a lot, like on a flat pitch, which usually during World Cups there is flat pitches, and we saw the
And
match
who
against
plays
the
well
Pakistan
on flat
Nepal.
pitches? Who plays well on flat pitches? Akshar Patel.
He does. Somehow he does.
Somehow he does it.
But yeah, it's just they've got a lot of questions. To me, one, like an emission, probably not talked about as a big emission, is Arshdeep Singh. I thought he bowled really well in the T20 World Cup. Yeah, I mean he did get hammered a couple of times, right? There were problems. He was going for like about doing some one day games. They did try him, right? Like he was going for like 70 and 80 and 10 overs. But I don't know. He just like the way he played in the T20 World Cup where he swung the ball.
Mm.
I felt like they should stick with him a bit more than they did.
Yeah, I mean, and we saw a little bit of that combination of Bumrah and Arshdeep in the recent matches against
Hmm.
Ireland T20, and that's been a mouth-watering combination that people have been looking forward to.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's
it's
hard because
the
you've got Siraj in there, you've got Shami in there as well. It is a difficult team to crack into in the from a fast bowler's perspective.
but the problem also comes like the attack kind of feels very samey. Shami, Siraj, Bumrah, all right-handers. Even Prasidh Krishna
Mm.
is a right-hander, I believe. So there's four right-hand fast bowlers. Mate, we need a
Yeah,
left arm swinging bowler,
need a
mate. Bring it
lefty.
back in
Mm.
to the pads. I mean, Arshdeep did it so well in that match in the T20 World Cup last year against Pakistan, where he just swing the ball back in, and Yeah, I feel like we're missing him in this squad. Would have been the perfect time to try him. I mean,
Yeah. There is
I mean,
one.
it is kind of random to bring Prasidh Krishna just out of injury, like out of nowhere, really.
Yeah. I mean, this is a packed team, right?
Yeah,
There is one, actually, you were talking about omission. There's one glaring omission, in my opinion, which they have ignored for probably about 2 years now, I think.
yeah,
Prithvi Shaw. I feel
yeah.
like
Prithvi Shaw.
he was told to go back and score runs. That's the best way you can.
Yeah,
He's had issues, right? Go back, score runs, and you will work your way back into the team. The guy has scored runs. He's scored a heap of runs in the Indian domestic circuit. Then
and recently in England
he's
as
gone
well.
over to
He's been in
England
England.
and played in their
Yeah,
domestic circuit and in county, and scored a
yeah.
heap of runs at a blistering pace. But he doesn't get a look in. That's yeah,
That's the thing. Like once you get sort of blacklisted by the selectors, they don't want anything to do with you.
yeah.
And unfortunately, yes, Prithvi Shaw recently in England got injured.
He
But
did, yeah.
I don't know whether that would have made any difference because I still don't think they would have picked
They
him.
probably wouldn't have picked him as well. Yeah.
And he's a talent, man. You've got to really look. He's had his attitude problems. That's what I've heard. But he is, from all intents and purposes, I think trying to turn it
Yeah,
around.
and he's got good technique. I believe he's got really
He's
good
got good
technique
technique,
as
yeah.
an opener.
And like he's had a run in the team, in the test team. I just don't think he had a full sort of commitment of a run to him. That they needed to stay committed to him for at least 10 to 12 matches to really test him.
And
But yeah,
yeah, I feel like he's missed out. Another player I feel like who unfortunately has been unselected, not really missed out, but he's been unselected, is the previous India captain for the one day team, Shikhar Dhawan. Now, I understand, look,
yeah,
I feel like Shikhar Dhawan is a very consistent player. And when the T20 World Cup was happening, all of these star players got into the T20 squad and focused on that, whereas the one day squad was totally different, right? Shikhar Dhawan led
yeah,
that squad. When the T20 World Cup was finished, all of the star players then shifted to the one day squad because the one day World Cup was coming up, and all the players who have been working hard in the one day squad were shafted. Like,
yeah. It's a bit of a, I don't know. It's just I don't like the way it's been run the last couple of years with like all the experimenting and look, I understand. Like it is impossible for India to be playing everywhere, but maybe not schedule in like three one-day series right next to each other.
yeah,
Like there was a time where we had basically India playing in different parts of the world with different squads,
yeah.
and like Shikhar Dhawan was like captain of one, and then there was the regular one. I was just like, I just don't know why are we doing this? Like it's just a bit. And like, look, Shikhar Dhawan is a solid player. He's been playing for a long time, and I think he's a senior player. He's a senior player as well, and I think he
Yeah.
deserves way more respect than just sort of being tossed aside like that. He's been asked to captain. He
I,
should be at least considered for the main squad.
yeah, and I think the problem comes in as well. I was talking about Prithvi Shaw as well. All of these players that I've mentioned are actually all openers. So I think that's where the
Yeah,
problem comes in as well. You've
that's
got
the problem.
Ishan
Yeah,
Kishan, you've got Shubman Gill, Rohit Sharma, Prithvi Shaw, and Shikhar Dhawan, all openers. And there's only two
yeah,
positions that are there to open, right? So
yeah. And Rohit's got one of them, and
yeah, so pretty
and
much there's
obviously,
one.
Gill, has been on great run of purple patch in his career. So it's just, yeah, it's a bit hard to crack in that top two. But still, I
Yeah,
mean, it would be
I feel
good
like
to have just
it's a
Shikhar
good
Dhawan in the
squad.
squad.
Yeah, I feel like overall it's a good squad.
Yeah,
And I feel like they are hopefully going to experiment with one or two positions.
yeah,
But hopefully the core of this squad is finalized already, like in the background by Dravid.
yeah,
Hopefully core squad is finalized and they're looking to experiment with one or two positions and give a few players experience, get some run into
yeah.
Bumrah again. Hopefully I feel like they've got Tilak Verma in there. I feel like they should give him a go in one of the matches.
Give him a shot.
Uh, yeah,
It's Asia Cup. I mean, they're going to be playing against Nepal and these type of teams as well. Perfect
yeah,
chance to try out some youngsters there
yeah.
too. So I
And it
mean,
is a
but
fairly
will they?
shortish tournament, right? It
What was
is
that? Sorry.
it is a fairly like shortish tournament. Like it's 12
Yeah, I think
matches,
next week
I
is a
think.
semi-final, so
Yeah.
it's going to be quick. Because then after this we have, I believe, it is Australia
Yes,
as a one-day series,
three match series.
three-match one-day series. So, I mean, yeah, we've definitely got a lot of preparations for the World Cup going on. But yeah. So, what do you think of our chances here in the Asia Cup? How far do you reckon we can go? Obviously, we're India fans. We think we can win everything, but like, we're gonna be a bit realistic here and see. I mean, Pakistan, they were pretty good the other day against Nepal.
So obviously, like the top two from each group go through. So we should beat Nepal,
Yeah,
right? We should.
yeah.
Who knows? What something might happen, because Nepal played pretty
We
well
should.
against Pakistan in the first half
Yeah,
of their
yeah,
when they were bowling.
yeah,
But India and Pakistan should go through. And then the other group we've got, I think, Sri Lanka and probably Afghanistan. I reckon might
yeah,
go through. Um,
yeah. And then
so
those will be your
it's gonna be pretty tough.
semi-finals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
Interestingly, I mean, obviously they probably will change this.
Yeah.
India is in Group A, right? So if India finish first in Group A, it is currently scheduled the first match, A1 versus B2 in Lahore.
No, no, no. So I read this before as well. No, so the way that that's done is their rankings. They've worked out some way about rankings and whether they doesn't matter whether they're first or second. They still always India will always play in Sri Lanka.
Okay.
But yeah, that's
I might just
the
say
India's not
India, you
visiting
finished
anytime soon.
actually A2.
But the interesting thing, right, was Pakistan invited Jay Shah and a couple of I think it was Rajiv Shukla maybe to come to Pakistan for the opening match. I think they did go as well. So that is a good sign of possibly some talking between the boards. There's been a lot of
Yeah.
tensions, in the past couple of years. But yeah, I mean, we've got to see how that turns out. But yeah, I mean, India's got a good chance to win this. It's obviously, I believe, going to go down to India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. With Afghanistan, mate, Afghanistan put up a fight. Like we've seen them recently against the games they've played against Pakistan. They've done really well. So
Yeah.
that's a dark horse as well.
Afghanistan
Afghanistan.
are a lot. Yeah, I'd call them like a firecracker team, like because you
Yeah,
got the firecrackers that would just go off and be magical, and then you'd have some of the firecrackers that just, you know what I mean, like they don't really do anything.
yeah,
So they can really explode, and they can really fizzle out as well. So
yeah.
yeah, Afghanistan's going to be a surprise packet, definitely.